This is the Action Coach Bolton Business Extra podcast. Every week we're going to be talking to a different business owner about their journey in business, the successes they've had, the mistakes they've made along the way, and what advice they've got for other business owners wherever you happen to be on your journey. Today we're joined by Tony Swain, who's the Managing Director and founder of IT at 93. Good morning, Tony. How are you?
I'm very well, Paul. Morning. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Great to see you. We're going to start with just a little bit of background about you and your business, Tony. So tell me how you got into business for yourself and a little bit about your company and why you started.
At the turn of the millennium, I was working as a contract programmer, and that came to an end due to the business we were working with contracting everything out to India at about a third of the price they were paying us. So it was like, right, what else can I do? So I started looking for other work and started looking after a few small businesses' IT systems on the side as that was winding down. And that then became my job and my business back in 2003. So 18 years, unbelievably. What do we do now, I suppose, is we look after small to medium-sized businesses, IT systems, support, consultancy, advice. There are 3 of us now who are technical in the business plus admin staff. It's a completely different ball game than it was 18 years ago, rather. Different ball game than it was 18 months ago because of COVID. But no, over the 18 years, I've seen some big changes in the way we work. Some good, some bad. So done very well, I believe, to stay in business for that long, and now, thankfully, growing bigger and better as we seem to move forward.
Oh, there must be some massive changes in IT since, well, it was 18 years, that's 2002, 2003. Yeah. Just incredible. It doesn't seem 2 minutes since I started getting my first mobile phone, which was only back in the early 90s.
True. Yes. And they're different. They're the same thing. Well, they're not actually. They're totally different beasts. The biggest change is that we can service more clients because we don't have to go out and solve every problem physically. We can do a lot of the work remotely, shadowing onto computers, etc. Whereas 18 years ago, even 10 years ago, that wasn't available. Every single thing we did had to be on site or trying to talk people through. And because people weren't used to technology, like you mentioned, mobile phones, they were very much more than they are now, afraid of it. So even small things they wouldn't want to do, and you'd have to go out. Once drove to Fleetwood from Rottenstall to switch a monitor on, which was a nice day out. So, and that could still happen because if somebody doesn't know how to switch a monitor on, you can't do it remotely, sort of thing. So no, it is different, but it's still the same business. We look after people's IT systems.
Yeah, it's that standard first line IT support question, isn't it? Have you turned it off and turned it back on again?
Yeah, we rebranded the company name. We rebranded the company about it's about 7 or 8 years ago now, actually. And we toyed with Control or Delete as a company name, but we didn't think it would be taken that well.
No, maybe not. So you mentioned a little bit about the kind of clients that you look after. Can you just expand on that a little bit for us? Who do you serve? Who are your target markets?
It changes over the years. You'd think you'd always say everybody, but it's not really. The majority, I would say 90% of our business clients are owner managed. So they're local businesses to us within anywhere in the northwest, really, but to be honest, usually within about 30-mile, 40-mile radius. Because we have to still be able to visit them, even though I said earlier we can do everything remote. You still need to go out to see clients. You can't just leave them alone in our business. So it's owner managed businesses really who've grown and have got to a point where their IT, they don't know they are frightened of their IT, but they know they need IT, but they need help with it. And having somebody in the office who likes gaming isn't the answer to sorting out a business IT system. So that's the sort of market we've got and the market we're looking for.
It's that old adage, isn't it? And I fall right into this category. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. And when it comes to IT, that's exactly me. I've got a little knowledge, but the number of times where I've had to ring somebody else after I've done something and not been able to correct it again afterwards, I can't begin to tell you.
You mentioned one of the first questions we always ask is, have you rebooted it? One of the first questions we always ask is, well, have you done anything different? No. Have we had? No. And then invariably, 4 more questions down the line, it's totally different. So unfortunately, majority of problems are caused by users, not the technology.
Yeah. And you mentioned their connectivity. I suppose the internet and the connectivity that you can get into your clients' systems now has completely changed the whole IT industry, hasn't it?
Totally. And because of that, clients expect more. Clients realise they can do more. They want to do more. They need advice on how they can do that better. So yeah, it's a different game. People working from home, obviously, which has become a big thing over the last 12 months, and home working. Talk of home working 10 years ago was always there and thereabouts, but it was never a legitimate proposition. But now it is, obviously, because it's happening.
Yeah,
being forced on us, really.
Yeah. I mean, we can't ignore the fact that we've had a pandemic. What's been the greatest impact for you of COVID-19 on your business? Some of the people that we've spoken to have seen an increase in business. Some people have been very severely impacted. Others are there or thereabouts somewhere they were last year. How about you?
I can't think of anything negative apart from the toll of having to go in and out of the office constantly and working under different rules and regulations, which everybody's had to do, obviously. But in regards to impact on the business, we're very positive. We've, apart from being absolutely mad busy every time there was a lockdown coming along and everybody shifted to home working and back to the office and home working, etc., which was just coping with what was happening. But we've had a great year in regards to picking up some new clients because they needed help. And we've had a great year in more business with our existing clients because they need new kit for things and new ways of doing things. And we've actually had probably one of our best ever years, numbers-wise as well. So
wow,
it's not been a good thing, hasn't the pandemic? Don't get me wrong. And no. I think a lot of that was coming anyway. If I look at my numbers back when it was growing anyway, but it just boosted it up a bit, really.
Yeah. And have you had to change the way you work because of the pandemic? Obviously, a lot more people are working from home. So instead of having one office full of desks with systems on them and the network there, you're serving possibly lots and lots of different locations.
Yeah, the biggest thing we've had to do is constantly talk to people, not just by email, physically, phone calls, etc. Just trying to make sure that clients and their users are aware that we are there to help them. Because what I think we found out is that a lot of people that have gone home working, which has obviously been the biggest bit of work we've done that we don't normally do, as I said, but what they've done is they always would rely on somebody else in the office who had a bit of knowledge, sometimes a dangerous thing, as you said, to help them out. How do I fix this? I don't know how to do this. This isn't working. How do I do it? And somebody just lean over, click something on the computer, it'll be good. Well, they don't have that at home. So we became that friend in the office as well, who fixed the little things. And I think initially you could get frustrated as IT support when you were fixing things that were just so mundane, really. And I'm not being critical of users, it's just that they didn't know. But then we had, so trying to make sure, and then also trying to educate people as best you can. The beauty of being able to remote onto a PC and shadow, they can see what you're doing. So providing you communicate with them when you're on the phone with them at the same time, you're saying, right, if it happens again, just right click this, do whatever. And it shouldn't happen again. And I think because they don't want to be ringing us, wasting their time and ours. But I think trying to that bit of education for users who are stuck on their own, and you can tell felt on their own at times because they couldn't get the IT, not just the IT, any support for anything because they're on their own, and nobody knew. Back a year ago in April, nobody knew what was happening. No. So they're all thrown to the winds to work, 9 winds to work from home, and it was, what do I do? And that's when we were busy, really busy. So it was communication, really. Was the thing you had to do.
Communication's key, isn't it? Whether it's internally with your employees or whether it's with your customers. And you're right. A lot of people have been working from home, and sometimes I wonder, that sometimes it's just somebody to talk to. So getting getting your IT support team on the end of the phone might just be the answer to. I just need somebody to talk to.
Well, we have one user who has probably rung us every day for a year.
Wow.
From home. I'm obviously not naming names.
No.
And it becomes now we have his mobile number plugged into our phone system, and we go, oh, no. And invariably, and he has his dog in the office with him at home snoring. So it's every day. I think he's probably missed a few days, but majority of days he rings up with something. So, and we know what it is after. So we've actually listed what it's going to be. So, client bingo.
We've got a client as well. He's one of our group coaching clients. He's got a dog called Oscar, and I know he wouldn't mind me talking about it. Yeah. And Oscar's become a bit of a star of our group coaching program because he's a bulldog and he snores away in the background, and he's great. He's a real character. So you mentioned that obviously business is up. Have you had to make changes internally because of COVID? Have you?
Initially we had to work. We had to work from home initially, so we had to improve our communication rather than all just being sat in the office talking to each other. So we really got into and developed a lot of work because we had initial barrage of work after March the 23rd announcement to get people working from home. April, as I say, was busy, people getting used to work from home. And May and June were very quiet because people were at home, knew everything was settled down. There was still a lot of people not working because furlough, obviously. But we then spent a bit of time on various things like setting up Microsoft Teams properly for ourselves so that we knew we had all the information. It didn't matter where we were. And that's been a big hit for us, really, because then we can talk to clients about that as well. We had it set up, but we weren't using it properly because we didn't need that information on there because we had it in, like I just said about relying on others. We do that. If somebody rings up with a problem and say, have you ever had this? Have you spoke to Jim at such and such saying he's got a problem there? So we have to put that in there, and us making sure that information in there, that was probably the best thing that's happened for us. And I think the biggest win is clients now realizing that they need to adapt their IT systems, and also realizing how good IT support actually is.
Yeah. And
good advice. And I won't blow my own drum and say we're good at that anyway, because there always are times when you're not. But I think clients realising the value of you is a big thing. That's been a big, because it helps us then going forward, because then they trust you a bit more. I would say the whole all of them's trusted, but there's now a bigger level of trust there for us.
Mm. Yeah, so that must have been a real win for your business because it's, you become an essential part of their lives right now, haven't you? Whereas before it might have been a cost to the business, it's now an investment and an essential part of the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, and we will be there for them now, obviously, and that's one of the things I think that'll happen. Obviously, probably summer-wise for majority is right, what are we going to do next?
Yeah,
and I think a lot of forward-thinking clients have already done a lot of thought on that, and we've been involved very briefly, but I think that'll ramp up hopefully over the next month or four.
Yeah. So when you think back about the changes that you have made over the last 12, 18 months or so, are there adjustments that you've made that you're going to carry on doing after lockdown?
Yeah, well, the communication as a team is massive because we will be looking to take somebody else on, and then they've got access to that mine of information straight away. We will, you never know, we may all have to work from home again. I think just talking to clients, again, I keep mentioning talking to clients about that. I've always tried to do that, but we haven't been able to do it for 12 months, so I've really missed it. But also getting them to realise everybody's now got a bit of knowledge about cloud. Cloud is the way forward. It's not always, cloud isn't the answer for everything.
Yeah.
Especially for bigger organisations. And they've got to realise, like I said, everybody for a little knowledge, dangerous thing. Well, we've got a mate of mine works in this and he does this. Yeah, but there's 4 users in this business. There's 40 in yours. And that's the thing, is to just pass our knowledge on, really. Which we've always done, but it's just, hopefully with what I said before about trust, is that, actually, these guys do know what they're talking about. They've got us through the last 12 months without many issues, so let's crack on with it. So
Okay. All right. Moving on slightly, it's been said that smart people learn from the mistakes and wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So, what mistakes did you make along the way? Maybe during COVID, during the pandemic, or even before that, since you started your business? And how do you think other entrepreneurs can learn from your experience?
Don't delegate enough, or didn't delegate enough. And that's through the last 18 years and the last 12 months. Thinking, I'll just do it. I'll just get on with it. You don't employ people who, and I'm not ashamed of saying this, are technically better than me.
Yeah.
But it's, if I pick up the phone, it's like, I'll just do it. And then I can get wrapped up in it for 2 hours and they might have got rid of the problem in no time.
And what's been the impact of that on your business?
Well, it frees a bit of my time up. And also it makes sure the client gets a better service, because I'm not, as I say, I'm not the most technical in the business. And you think, well, I don't know, it's my business, I should be, but that's why you employ people to do certain jobs.
Yeah.
So, and I think not necessarily with that instance, but other stuff, advice, just thinking, I don't need advice. I'll just get that down the pub on a Friday night. I don't really need to speak to people.
Yeah.
About, which goes back to some of our clients and their IT systems sort of thing. But again, if I'm saying to clients, you need to trust us because we're the IT experts, I need to speak to other business owners or other accountants, whoever, solicitors, whatever, and get their advice on what's the best thing. And I think head in the sand at times, especially when times are tough, I think, it's like just grind it out. And it is easier than to stick your head in the sand. You just don't want to deal with, well, you do want to deal with it, but you just, in a way, are hoping things will eventually get better. But I think now we are busier, we're bigger as a company. It gives me the chance to A, delegate, and B, and not just asking outside for advice, asking internally to the lads, because they know the business. The two lads have been with me 4 years and 8 years, so they're not new to it. They know how we work, they know how I work, and they have got some good options to talk to. So it's just listening to other folk and giving up some jobs that are better done by others.
Yeah.
I
spoke to a business owner a few months ago, and I said, if you got one piece of advice, what would it be? And he said, always employ people who are better than you at what you're employing them to do. So you know that your business is going to grow as a result. And we often say to our clients, look, saving a salary can cost your company a fortune. So, why keep doing those jobs yourself when you can get somebody else to do them? So it stunts the growth of your company, doesn't it?
Very true.
If you could go back to March or, the very beginning of the pandemic, before lockdown began, is there anything that you would have done sooner with hindsight?
I'd have bought about 200 laptops because then I made a fortune. The price of laptops has gone through the roof for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
That first couple of weeks, have you any laptops? No, can you get me one? Yeah, but they're double what they were last week. So 150 laptops sitting in the office would have been nice to have. I think, what else would we have done? I don't know how you prepared for it though, because did it come as a bolt out of the blue? I remember one of my clients talking to me in mid-February saying he's coming, isn't it, home working? And I'm going, really? Is it? And I'm like, and then as time progressed, it was inevitable, wasn't it, that home working was happening. And I think, again, hindsight's the best planning tool in the world. What I'd done, maybe thought about giving clients a to-do list on how to homework, what they needed to do in order to prepare. Because what happened was we had people who just went home with all the kit. Some people took the PCs off, rather because they didn't have a laptop, they took the PCs, the screens, keyboards, mice, the whole lot, set it up in the back bedroom, and then say, I can't get online. Well, this PC's not got Wi-Fi. Well, PCs don't come from Wi-Fi. And it's not them being ignorant. They just don't understand how it all works. And then put the Wi-Fi. The advice was going back order of Amazon, a little Wi-Fi dongle. Connect to the Wi-Fi. The signal's poor because they've got 2 or 3 school kids in the house playing on the Xboxes. They've got a husband. So there was that was probably one of our biggest challenges, was not just people working at home, is actually explaining to them that, because one poor girl down in Wolverhampton, she had to set up in the living room with a cable running to the router behind the telly on a little makeshift. She sent me a photo of a little makeshift desk with a monitor on it. She had to have 2 monitors for the job she was doing.
Yeah.
And every time we spoke to her, all you could hear in the background was her parents or her sisters, and she's about 20-year-old, sisters and brothers who were younger than her, playing around in the front room, and her mum and dad back talking. And she couldn't wait to get back to the office. And she had no option. Wi-Fi just wouldn't have cut the job. And it was that, really. People just went home and expected everything's going to work.
Yeah.
And I think security was something that was a bit of an afterthought in regards to all of a sudden you're letting everybody connect in from all over the place. Is this secure? Because they still need the data from work. If they've got the cloud, are they allowed to connect up? Yes, we had to allow them to connect up, but then is it the right way to do it? And that was probably one of the biggest challenges after the event, was making sure that everything was secure. And then you'd have clients ringing up saying, right, Jim Smith's not working for us from Monday. Can you stop his connection? Yeah, okay then. Right, and so you change all the settings so they couldn't get in. And then, Jim Smith's coming back next week. Oh, God. In and out. And then rolling furlough. Rolling furlough was the same. Can you stop their access for a week? I'm going, really? For a week? Because they're coming back next week. Is it worth it? Are they going to do any work? Well, we can't allow them to because they're not allowed to for furlough reasons. And it was things like that just...
Yeah.
And everybody was just rolling with what the rules at the time were. And not just us as IT support, with all sorts of different things. So there was massive challenges, and there still is, on home working. And God knows where that's going over the next 12 months.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we talk about planning all the time with our clients, and a lot of larger organisations, particularly the larger corporates, have disaster recovery plans in place to cover a whole raft of different contingencies. I doubt very much whether many of them had contingencies in for a major pandemic and everybody being forced to work from home. But I suspect that there's a lot more of them have got those plans in place now for moving forwards, should it have to happen again. Yeah. And I think it's worth smaller companies considering that as well, planning for different eventualities.
We've done disaster planning with some clients because obviously we're a big part of that, but it's never ever mentioned. It's mainly been about the office being unusable, fire, flood, theft. Theft's not the office being unusable. Yeah. And it's more about what do we do? And it literally was part of that is if the office is burnt down, it's drive down to PC World and buy X number of laptops, etc. You can't do that now because there's not. Well, there are some about, but they're not the right money. But and I think that will be something, another way to talk to clients about what you're going to do. Because it obviously could happen. It's happened once. I don't think the impact would be as severe again, but it still could happen that we're under a massive health threat.
It just goes to show the importance of planning in every business for different eventualities, doesn't it, Tony?
Yeah, but you can't plan for every single thing. And when you sort of do these disaster recovery plans and you're sitting there and you get depressed, it's like, right, what happens if the office floods? What happens if it burns down? What happens if there's a pandemic?
Yeah.
What happens if the managing director gets killed in a car crash? It's like, oh my God. Because what happens if we take on 200 more clients isn't in the disaster planning sort of thing.
No.
So
yeah, that's an interesting concept, isn't it? What happens if all of a sudden we do something right in a marketing and get a whole raft of new clients? Because that can present similar challenges to when things are tough.
Oh yeah. We need another 10 people. No, the usual one we get is, we've got some new starters. When did they start? This is on a Thursday. They started on Monday. Okay. Can you set them up now? Right, we've had 4 days. You knew they were coming before Monday. And a lot of our bigger clients, we've actually got with them, so they send us when they remember, they send us a starter sheet, name, title, what the email address wants to be, etc., what they need access to, personnel files, accounts files, or whatever. But invariably, it's a phone call or an email. Paul Lim's just started with us on. Paul Lim started Friday afternoon, 4:00. Paul Lim started with us Monday, 9:00. Can you set a PC up and an email address for him? Yeah, which PCs are you using? Well, we haven't got a PC for him. Can you get us one? 4:00 Friday. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll just wave my magic wand, wave it in at thin air and go, easy, wheezy, let's get busy.
Well, I can let you in office tomorrow. Oh, thanks. That's very good of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just interrupt my game of golf and pop down, shall I?
Yeah. But then invariably, you rush over there on the Monday. And they're doing an induction day anyway, so they're actually not doing any work on Monday, in reality. Yeah. So it's just, it's one of the quirks of... But then the biggest one is, on the counter side of that, people leave and they don't tell us. Oh. So, because as soon as people leave, passwords should be changed, any remote access should be stopped. And that's become a bit more aware, because I was saying earlier about changes to the security. Yeah. And then you'll send the client the monthly bill for 15, 20 emails. We've only got 16 users. Oh, you were let 4 go a week ago. Well, I'm sorry, you're paying for it. I can't backdate because I've been paying my accountant. And end of the day, there's enough hassle in letting people go. There's enough hassle in rating, but it's that own and managed thing where somebody else is responsible. Usually the office manager, who sometimes is the owner, but mainly it's the wife or the sister or something like that, who just has a job to do. And we had a client yesterday run up said they sold a license, they sold a part of the business with a license, so they were going to ship to this company. They bought it off them, 3 PCs. And he said, they're in the box, they're all right to go, aren't they? I went, well, it's got 3 of yours emails on it, it's got all your software, it's got passwords on it, etc., etc. It's got a lot of your files that'll be desperately... Well, nothing should be stored to the hard drive, everything should be on the server. It won't. There will be stuff on the hard drive. All right, so he had to unbox 3 PCs, because he was literally giving away half his business information. And we are last thought sometimes, especially when people are busy, etc., etc. But by trying to tell them, it saves them hassle, because the last thing they want is information. Because one of them actually had a link to the Sage accounts on the system, so they could have seen all their accounts data. Wow! And that's like I've said before. The majority of phone calls we get are stressed because they've got a problem or something needs doing now. Yeah. And they're threatening to throw a laptop through the window, as somebody did yesterday. Or, as once happened, can you get a laptop screen? Can you replace a laptop screen? Yeah, why? Well, I'll just put my fist through mine. Why? I couldn't print my boarding pass for my holiday.
Well, that's the most important thing, isn't it? Thankfully, when we can go on holiday.
He was the MD of the company, so he didn't have to report to anybody. So,
good grief.
But the funds of IT support, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, there's two sides of that. It's being able to respond really, really quickly to people, and Tony, I know you become a sort of trusted advisor to your most important clients, don't you?
Yeah, and which is what we want to be. What we don't have a system where you raise a ticket and it gets put in a queue. I think that may have to come in depending on growth, but at the moment we handle it by phone calls and we ticket and queue it, so people don't get a response saying we will answer your question within an hour. We still say to people we'll do our best within an hour, but it's more that everybody can ring us at any time rather than having to, because people have to fill a bloody form in for what's the description of the problem, whereas Tony, I can't install this software. You just jump on and have a look. Bang. Now, providing I'm not in the middle of anything else or anybody else not in the middle of anything else, we just do that. Yeah. If we can. But hopefully, we can still do that if we grow with additional staff, and we can do the ticketing and we can still manage what's going on. We have to ticket to know what's going on. And also, information gets put in the ticket, which helps us looking back. But yeah, I think just allowing them to talk to us is massive, rather than it just all being electronic. Because again, that gives trust, like you mentioned. It's a trust thing then. Yeah, and especially if you fix things quickly.
Yeah, human contact's really important, isn't it? There's nothing worse when you ring somebody up and you get the automated service on the front end. Press 1 for this, press 2 for that, press 3 for that. Yeah. You might be okay with 1 or 2, but with my bank, you get 7 or 8 different options, and then you go on to another 7 or 8 different options. So, look, moving on to things that are a little bit more lighter. Tell me what you're most looking forward to post lockdown, Tony.
post-lockdown. I'll have to say the grandkids first, visiting and sleeping over and playing out in the garden, etc. And then a beer in a pub, without doubt. Somebody serving me a beer rather than having to open a can out the fridge. 100%. Work. Yeah, I'm looking forward to work, honest. No, because we've all literally had 3 or 4 days off in a year.
Yeah.
Because there's just nothing to have a day off for. So, although I had one the other week. But I think it's just relaxing a bit more, by being able to be more sociable and getting out. Thankfully, the weather's looking better. It is spring. What are we? 47 days until we can have a pub outdoor and a beer garden. Not that I'm counting.
No. Not that you're counting. Okay, and Tony, what most inspires you today?
I think people and the way, not business-wise, this is in the world, the way people have pulled together. There's been a lot of rubbish in the year in regards to, I could get political here, but I better not. But I think the way people have pulled together when they've needed to, communities, especially back in the first lockdown, everybody was helping each other out, speaking to neighbours, etc. Do you need any help? The clap for carers thing, really, I thought, brought the country together. There's been problems, don't get me wrong, there's been mock-ups, but I tell you what's inspiring me is that the way, when we get stuff right, like the vaccination program as a country, the way the army have stepped in, the volunteers have stepped in, and we're vaccinating 500,000 people a day at the moment, and apparently that's going to ramp up. And I think it's that we can do it as a country, and we can do it, and then that it goes down to the people, and I think it's that attitude. We've not got one client who just give up the ghost. They've all gone, no, we can get through this. We will get through this, and I think you have to. There's no, it's like I said before about putting your head in the sand. You do that, you're going nowhere. So I think the country, really, it's been crap for everybody. Everybody's moments of being down, me included. So I think, Tom Moore is a captain, so whatever he was, unfortunately died a few weeks ago. Just for somebody like that to rally around him and give him the ability at 100 years old to walk around his garden so often and raise such good money, and that wasn't just him walking around his garden. That was everybody inspiring him, sort of thing. So I think, the country and people in it.
I think that British bulldog spirit. We'll get through this because we've had to get through it before, and I think the sense of community has been absolutely crucial, and it inspires me every day when you see, there's always that small minority, but for the vast majority, everybody's pulled together. It's been brilliant. 2 final questions. What have you learned about yourself during the last year, 18 months, Tony?
As I just said, we can do it. We got through a massive amount of phone calls and work back in March, the day and the day after, when it was announced we were going into lockdown as a country. And the country virtually stopped, didn't it? It wasn't like it is now, the lockdown. People were frightened, and we got through it. I got through it. I was stressed, don't get me wrong, working till all hours, trying to get people set up at home, as I've mentioned. But we got there, and we did it again in November, and we did it again in January. But sometimes I need to be more patient. Like I said, people are ringing us stressed. We're stressed, obviously, because that's, unfortunately, you get stressed in work when people are not happy with you or whatever because something's not working. And I think just that deep breath, step away, or just, can I ring you back in 5 minutes, and just have that few minutes to clear your head and just think clearly. And if you'd have asked that question to the wife, she'd have said that, patience.
Patience is a virtue, always, Tony.
Absolutely. So it's been tough, but we can do it. We've done it. Hopefully, we're on the back end of it now. So, but that it's taking that forward, isn't it? That whatever we can do, whatever's thrown at us, or whatever new challenges we take on, we can do it. So, yeah.
And if you had one piece of advice for another business owner, out of everything that you've learned over your time in business, what would that be?
Look for advice. Would be the biggest thing. Thankfully, I'm surrounded by a lot of good friends who've got their own businesses, and a lot of them are clients. And I'm talking multi-million-pound businesses. Some of them tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands businesses. Some of them, but we've all done the same thing. We've all had issues with marketing, with sales, with whatever it might be, suppliers, and just to have that advice on tap. And sometimes you need to step away from your friends. You need to get that professional advice. And I think without that, especially the last 2 or 3 years, especially, I've really started looking at that, and that's been a massive help. Don't think that you're the first person ever to be in this situation, because you're not. It's like IT support. Yeah, we have never found a problem given to us that somebody hasn't had before.
Yeah.
Google is amazing if you know what to Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you Google printer not working, you're not going to get the answer. But I'm not. People laugh at us. We use Google because somewhere out there, and we've got some blogs, etc. Somebody will have had that problem.
Yeah.
It's not a unique business. We're not a unique company. We do what dozens and dozens of hundreds of other companies do. Hopefully we do it slightly better than others, a lot better than some others. But yeah, the advice is out there, seek it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tony. It's been absolutely brilliant talking to you. If people want to get a hold of you, if people want to use your services and talk to you, what's the best way to get in contact with you guys?
Initially, phone call 01706 835 235, or email me directly, Tony at it93thenumber.co.uk, or get us out on our website, it93.co.uk. We'll come and have a chat, and hopefully we can do things for people.
Okay, thanks a lot, Tony. I can't recommend Tony enough. He's we've heard a lot from people that he already works with about the services he provides, and I know Tony pretty well as well, and he always delivers. So, Tony, thank you very much for your time this morning, for telling us about your journey over the last 12, 18 months, and for the advice that you're giving for other business owners. Have a brilliant weekend, and we'll speak to you soon.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Paul. See you soon.
Bye-bye.